Hello, students, and welcome to our lesson for November 2nd. Getting close to Thanksgiving now. Our do now, we will be asked to mindfully respond to a prompt about kindness journaling. That's a new concept for many of you, and we'll talk about that in class. Our objective, we will still work with mixed number addition, and I'm really hoping you're getting really strong with those fractions. It's a great basic skill to have going into your high school classes, so it's important that we get those right. Our essential question is, what must we remember when adding mixed numbers? We'll watch our video, and while you're watching the video, I want you to complete the assigned page. It doesn't really work for you to just watch the video and then do the page later. You should do it along with the video. Of course, you should pause and try things on your own. But remember, our do now and our exit, we complete here in Teams electronically, but our math pages we complete on the physical paper, which helps us to show our work and show our teacher what we're doing. When I add and subtract mixed numbers, this is our exit ticket. We're going to fill in the blank. When I add, mixed numbers, first I must find a what? Two words. I do this by finding the three words blank, blank, blank of the denominators given in the problem. For homework, I just want you to finish up anything we may not have completed in class. And the important notes I have for you today are to always do your quizzes in Teams on Wednesdays, and when you submit them, click this view my results or see results, and that way they'll get sent to me and you'll see how you did. Remember, do all your work when it is assigned. Don't leave it till the weekend or anything else, or you may fall behind in how well you understand these things, because each day builds on the day before. On Wednesdays, I'll post a link in the post section of Teams for extra help, and you can just click on the link and jump into a Teams meeting if you need extra help on Wednesday. So I want you to look up to the sky and imagine that as you're looking up, up is how your skills are going in math, getting better and better and better. And just daydream for a minute with this beautiful picture. It's a beautiful time of the year. So let's enjoy it. Okay, this was our do now. If you were to keep a kindness journal for 1 week, what would it reveal? Are there times when you are kinder? Maybe you're kinder at school. Maybe you're kinder during math. Or maybe you're just kinder when you're not feeling tired. I know that's true for a lot of people. Again, this is our exit ticket. When I add mixed numbers, first I must find a something, and I said it was two words. I do this by finding the blank, blank, blank of the denominators given in the problem. We have a self-checking worksheet today. That means we'll do the first problem and we'll put this answer in this blank. And when we're all finished, at the end of the page, we should have an answer of 37 and 49/80 as our final answer. So let's get started with our first problem. I have 1 3/4 plus 11/20 plus 2 3/5. These problems take a bit of work, so I wrote them down on another page, and I hope you do the same thing in your notebooks. So we need to find a common denominator, and we do that by finding the least common multiple of 4, 20, and 5. I've written the multiples of each of these numbers. The multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and 24. Multiples of 20 are 20, 40, 60, and 80, and the multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. What is the smallest number that is a multiple of each of these? And if I look at these, I see the number 20 that they all have in common as a multiple. So my least common multiple is going to be 20. I don't think I want a colon. I think I want to put an equal sign there. So now I need to convert these fractions into multiples of 20. So let's get going with that. First, I have 1 3/4. I'm just going to worry about the fractional portion of that mixed number. So what can I do to get this to become 20ths? I'm going to multiply that by something. What will I multiply it by? Well, 4 times 5 is 20. Then whatever I put here, I multiply this by. 3 times 5 equals 15. So we don't have to convert 11/20ths, that's already in 20ths, but let's look at that 3/5. We need to convert that to 20ths. And I know that 5 times 4 is 20. Whatever number I put here is what I'll multiply the 3 by, and 3 times 4 is 12. Now let's rewrite the problem. So we have 1, and instead of 3/4, we have 15/20, plus 11/20, plus, instead of 3/5, we have 12/20. Now that we have the same denominator, we can go ahead and add across. So 1 plus, there's no whole number here, there's no whole number here, so we have that 1 working in 20ths, and we add the numerators. 15 plus 11 plus 12 equals 15 and 11 equal 26, and 12 is 38. So we have an improper fraction here. So we have to convert 38/20ths to a mixed number so that the numerator is less than 20. So I'm going to take 38 and divide by 20. And 20 goes into 38 one time. 1 times 20 is 20. We subtract. 8 take away 0 is 8. 3 take away 2 is 1. This is going to be our new numerator, 1 and 18/20ths. And this whole number is added to the whole number here. So that means the 1 and 38/20ths becomes 2. Oh, I see I forgot something. Let me just fix something right now. I forgot to put this 2. So let's get that 2 in there and let's put it here. It's not going to change much. So 1 plus 2, this should be a 3. Okay. So we add the 1 to the 3, we get 4. And instead of 38/20ths, we have 18/20ths. Sorry about that. Now, we can still reduce 18/20ths. We can divide 18 by 2 and divide 20 by 2. So the 4 remains. 18 divided by 2 is 9. 20 divided by 2 is 10. This is our final answer. 14 and 9/10. 4, and 9/10. So 4 and 9/10 will go here, and it will go here. So let's do the second problem. We have 1 and 3/5 plus 3/5 plus 1 and 3/8, and we've inserted the 4 and 9/10 in the blank. So let's think about our multiples. Multiples of 5 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Multiples of 8, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. Multiples of 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So what is the least common multiple to all of these? And it's this time, I think it's going to be a pretty large multiple. Looks like 40 is the least common multiple of 5, 8, and 10. So 40 will be our new denominator. So to get to 5 to 40, we have to multiply by 8. So we will multiply the numerator by 8. 8 times 3, 24. So 3/5 will become 24/40. 10 times 4 is 40. We're looking at this 9/10 here. 9 times 4 is 36. And let's look at the 3/8. 8 times 5 is 40. 3 times 5 is 15. So let's rewrite the problem. So we have our 1 3/5. But we've converted the 3/5 to 24/40 plus another 3/5, which is just 24/40 plus 4 9/10, which will be 4 36/40 plus 1 3/8, which will be 1 15/40. So now that everything's got the same common denominator, we can begin our work of adding. So we'll start with the whole numbers. 1 plus 4 is 5, and 1 more makes 6. And our denominator is 40ths. 24, I'm just listing the numerators. 24 plus 24 plus 36 plus 15. So 24 and 24 is 48. 48 plus 36 plus 15. 8 and 6 is 14, and 5 is 19. 1 was 5, 8, 9. 99/40. Okay, we have an improper fraction with a numerator that is greater than a denominator. So we need to simplify that portion of the fraction and add any whole numbers to the 6. So we'll do that using division. Let's change our colors. We can keep everything straight. We will have 99 divided by 40. 40 times 2 is 80, with 19 left over. So that would be 2 19/40. The 2 will be added to the 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. And we have our remainder of 19/40. 19 over 40 cannot be simplified, so that's a final answer, 8 19/40. Now we'll also put that in the next problem. And I've set this one up for us. So interesting with this problem, is the fact that we already have a denominator, this 40, that will work for us. When we examine our problem, I see a denominator of 5, another denominator of 5, and a denominator of 40. And I really need to ask a question. Is 5 a factor of 40? Or in other words, is 40 a multiple of 5? And in either case, the answer is yes. So that means we can work with this denominator of 40. So now we just need to convert. We want to know how many 40ths would equal 4/5. So 5 times 8 is 40. So we'll multiply 4 times 8, which gives us 32. So now we can rewrite the problem. So our first fraction is 4/5 plus 8 and 19/40 plus 4, and instead of 4/5 we have this 32/40, and we forgot to convert our first one. Let's go back to that. That's also 32/40 because we have a 4/5 here and a 4/5 here. So let's add them up. So no whole number here. Here we have an 8 plus a 4, which makes 12. Again, our denominator is 40ths. So the numerator's 32 plus 19 plus 32. Well, I know 32 plus 32 equals 64. And then 64 plus 19, this is just one way of doing mental math. Well, 64 plus 20 is 84, and one less would be 83. So we have 83 in the numerator. And we know this numerator is improper, and we need to do a little division to convert it. So 83 divided by 40. 40 times 1 is 40. 40 times 2 is 80. Subtract. 3 take away 0 is 3. Excuse me, I didn't mean to write that. So 3/40 is our remainder. So the 2 will be added to the 12, and we will have 3/40 left over, which cannot be converted any further. And that's a final answer, 12 and, oops, I forgot to add the 2, 14 and 3/40. Cannot simplify 3/40 anymore. So I add the 2 to the 12, which gave me 14. So let's write that down, 14 and 3/40. And we will also write that here because these are self-checking. And let's move on to the next problem. Now we're on problem number 4, which I've set up. So 1 7/16 plus 14 and 3/40. So we've got multiples of 16 and multiples of 40. So multiples of 16 are 16, 32, 48, 64, 80, 96, 112. Multiples of 40, 40, 80, 120. And it looks like the least common multiple is going to be 80. That means we will have a denominator of 80 in these problems. So in order to get to 80 from 16, we have to multiply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So we also multiply 7 times 5, which gives us 35. In order to get to 80 from 40, we have to multiply 1 2 times. 40 times 2 is 80. 3 times 2 is 6. Let's rewrite the problem. So our 1 7/16 becomes 1 35/80, and our 14 3/40 becomes 14 6/80. We add 1 plus 14 equals 15. Working with 80ths. 35 and 6 is 41. And this is completely simplified. We are done. There is nothing further to do. We have a proper fraction here. So we can't reduce that any further. No simplification can be done. That's the final answer, 15 41/80. And let's go on to the next problem. Problem 5. Three 4/5 plus 15 41/80, which was our answer from our last problem. And let's think about this. Is 80 a multiple of 5, or is 5 just another way of asking it, a factor of 80? And the answer is yes. That means that 80 will be our denominator. So this fraction, 15 41/80, will not change as we work this problem. So how much do we multiply 5 by to get to 80? Well, division can help us answer that. 5 goes into 8 one time, with 3 left over. 5 goes into 30 6 times, even. So 5 times 16 is 80. 4 times 16 is, well, 16 times 4. 6 times 4 is 24. 64. So 64/80. So let's rewrite the problem. And 3 4/5 will become 3 64/80 plus 15 41/80. 3 plus 15 is 18. We're working with 80ths. 64, here's our numerators, plus 41 equals 4 plus 1 is 5, 6 plus 4 is 10, 105. That is an improper fraction, so we need to reduce that. So let's use division. We will divide 80 into, let me make some room here, into 105. We can reasonably see it will go one time. 1 times 80 is 80, with 25 left over. So this 1 gets added to the 18, which will be 19. This is our numerator, 25/80. Now we can still reduce this portion of this problem. So let's do that. So I'm going to rewrite it here. I have my 19 25/80, and 25 and 80 are both divisible by 5. So 19, 25 divided by 5 is 5. 80 divided by 5 is 16, and we saw that over here. So this is now the final simplified answer for number 5, 19 5/16. And let's write that on the next line. And let's get ready to do our next problem. So we have 2 1/2 plus 19 and 5/16. So I look at this 2 and I look at this 16 and I should be asking, is 2 a factor of 16? Or in other words, is 16 a multiple of 2? And we know that any even number is a multiple of 2. So how do I get from 2 to 16? I multiply by 8. 1 times 8 is 8. So now I rewrite the problem. So instead of 2 and 1/2, I will have 2 and 8/16 plus 19 and 5/16. 2 plus 19 equals 21. Working in 16ths, 8 plus 5 is 13. And this ended up being a pretty easy problem because it's already reduced and simplified. So 21 and 13/16 is our answer, and that will go in the line on the next problem. We've got 3 numbers to add together on number 7. Let's get there. We've got 1/16 plus 21 and 13/16 plus 7/8. So we should ask, is 8 a factor of 16? Or, in other words, is 16 a multiple of 8? And the answer is yes. So that means 16 can be our new denominator. How do we get from 8 to 16? We multiply by 2. Whatever we do on the bottom, we do to the top. 7 times 2 is 14. Now we will rewrite the problem with our common denominators. So 1/16 is still 1/16 plus 21 and 13/16. We don't need to rewrite that. Plus 14/16 equals, we have no whole number with the first or third term, but we do have 21. Now, we're going to add the numerators. 1 plus 13 plus 14, which equals 28. And that is an improper fraction. We'll need to reduce that. So we're going to have 28 divided by 16. 1 times 16 is 16. 8 take away 6, 2. 2 take away 1, 1. And that's 12/16. So this 1 is added to the 21 to give me 22 and 12/16. But both that 12 and that 16 are divisible by 4. So we'll do that in order to simplify this problem. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 16 divided by 4 is 4. And that is our final simplified answer, 22 and 3/4. And we'll put that on the next line. And we only have 3 left. And we'll rewrite this next problem, number 8. And it's all set up for us. And again, let's ask, is 4 a factor of 16? Or in other words, is 16 a multiple of 4? And the answer is yes. So that means we won't need to convert this second number, but we will convert the fourths. So 3/4, well, what do I multiply 4 by to get to 16? And the answer is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Let's do a rewrite. And our new number, well, instead of 22 and 3/4, will be 22 and 12/16 plus 4 and 5/16. 22 plus 4 make 26. And working in 16ths, 12 plus 5 is 17. And this is an improper fraction. 17 divided by 16 is 1, with 1/16 left over. Add the 1 to the 26, 27, and 1/16 cannot reduce it any further, and that's a final answer. And let's do problem number 9. Again, here we have denominator of 16 and of 2. Now, what is that question we ask? Let's fill in the blanks here. Is blank a factor of blank? Is 2 a factor of 16? Or, in other words, is 16 a multiple of 2? And the answer is yes. So we know that 2 times 8 equals 16. 1 times 8 is 8. Let's rewrite. So we have 27 and 1/16 plus 2 and 8/16. 27 plus 2 is 29. Working in 16ths, 8 plus 1 is 9. That cannot be reduced any further. That is a final answer, 29 and 9/16, which we will also write here. And let's see if we can get this answer to check on our last problem. So I've rewritten it. It's a little bit challenging. We have 1 1/2 plus 29 and 9/16 plus 2 4/5 plus 3 3/4. We need multiples of all these. Here are the multiples of 2, which is all even numbers. Any even number will be a multiple of 2. Here are the multiples of 4, multiples of 5, and the multiples of 16. Let's look at these lists and let's determine which is the smallest number that they all are a factor of, the smallest multiple, the least common multiple. And it looks like, do we have 16 in here? No, it needs to be a number it's, divisible by 5 or 16. And the smallest one I see is 80. And 80 is definitely divisible by 2. So 80 is our new denominator. Let's figure out what the numerators will be. Well, we have this 1/2. Well, 2 times 40 gets us to 80. 1 times 40 gets us to 40. 5 times 16 gets us to 80. 4 times 16 gets us to 64. 16 times 5 gets us to 80. 9 times 5 is 45. And 4 times 20 gets us to 80. 3 times 20 gets us to 60. So I think we're going to need a little bit more room to rewrite. So we have 1 1/2. Instead of 1/2, we have 40/80 plus 29 and 9/16. And 9/16 is 45/80 plus 2 and 4/5. And 4/5 becomes 64/80 plus 3 3/4. And 3/4 translates to 60/80. So let's add the whole numbers. 1 plus 29 is 30, plus 2 is 32, plus 3 more is 35. We're working in those denominators of 80th, and I want to circle these numerators. So we have 40 plus 45 plus 64 plus 60. I'm going to write them vertically so it's easier to add them. 40, 45, 64, and 60. Oh, 9, no carrying over. 4, 6, 12, 13, 14, 20, and 1. Oh, no carryovers. 6, 20. So we have 209 over 80. Well, that's an improper fraction, so let's do some division. 209 divided by 80 should be 2 times 80 is 160. If we subtract, we have a remainder of 49/80. So the 2 will be added to the 35 to give us 37 and 49/80. Fully simplified. Final answer. Let's see if it checks. And it does. That is exactly what we got. So let's go back to our exit ticket. When I add mixed numbers, first I must find let's get a color that'll show up pretty well. Common denominator. And I do this by finding the least common multiple of the denominators that are given to us in the problem. You've worked hard. I know that you're building your math muscle with all of this hard work. I'm super proud of all you're doing, and I know that with practice, you'll be great.